and we did the Arcos Burn Navigator, and we've done a lot in the last 5 weeks. First of all, we have converted everything from MVC to Redux. So we went through and converted all the logic in our files and turned it into a Redux design pattern. So next, a lot of what we did was covering the user interface. Most of the backend and all that is finished. And so I'll show off, I'll go over the different stuff we did on the UI. So first off, let's create a patient. So we made it so that the add patient wizard is fully functional. Did you do it for training or regular patient?
Oh no, I did it for regular patient.
Yeah, I'll get to that later. We have two different types of patients. Training is so that you can sort of teach the user how to play with the app and use it functionally before they get to a real patient. So you click the button on the top right, and it becomes training mode. We're gonna go over, fix that to make it a little more intuitive later. But go ahead and add a patient. So we'll do a training one for now. Put in the patient description. Patient weight is all the inputs are working fine.
We also implemented validation.
Yeah, so if you put in like too big of a number, like 1,000, it'll tell you that. Oh, that's weird. I'll have to add that to our bug list.
Yeah.
But put in like a big number, like 1,000, and another 0. Yeah, so it must be less than 254, and it also has to be at least like 1 or something. I don't know what the minimum is, but yeah. All right, cool. So let's put in those for now, and we choose a protocol. Let's go with adult. That validation is from, I believe 0 is the minimum, I believe, and 100 is the maximum. Yeah.
So we go over, it'll tell us it has to be less than 100.
Okay, so the burn area percentage is 30%. And then we're going to go with the default lactated ringers, and the recommended rate is 500 for an adult, but you can manually change that if you like.
You can also change it to whatever you want.
Yeah. All right, we'll go with that. And then of course we have the elapsed time since burn occurred, so they occur as wheel inputs. So you can specify how long ago the burn actually happened. So, okay, go ahead and go with anything. We gotta hurry up. All right.
That's just don't worry about that.
Okay. Yeah, we got a few little bugs that we're tracking. We're gonna do.
So the button hasn't disabled yet.
Yeah, we gotta fix that. Okay, so we created the patient. If you go up to the hamburger menu at the top left, we put a little symbol in there that has the people, so you know that it's for patients. And it gives you an active patients list and an archived patients list. Typically after 24 hours, the patient will be archived, meaning that they're inactive, because their treatment is usually typically for 24 hours. So if we select the active patient we just created, we'll go over the different things that we changed. So we combined the info page and the home page into one page. We found it redundant a little bit, so now the home page is now also the info page. Next, let me see. Yeah, so let's do an hourly update. So basically every hour we'll give a fluid update by clicking up there. That's the training mode. So in the training mode, you can directly press next update. In the real patient, it'll give you a push notification at the top of the hour so that you can input the fluids for your patient in that way. But it gives you a push notification here just for testing purposes to show you how it works. So then you give the urine that they outputted during that hour, and it gives you a recommended infusion rate based off of that. And then of course you have the fluid volume that you inputted or gave the patient for that hour. And then you have the additional fluids, which you can select anything that the doctor just thought on their own behalf that patient needed additionally, and you just put in the amount and say add fluid. And it adds it to the list. Okay. Now, in our next iteration, we're going to cover all the bugs.
We're in the process of moving from MVC to Redux, so not everything has switched over. So the stuff in the back is still working, but the views we just haven't caught up yet.
Yep.
But in our bug tracker or Trello we're using, we're making a list of all the bugs we need to fix in the next iteration, so we'll cover those. Okay, so we added the next update. May want to add an extra one just to make the graph a little more meaningful. So we'll show you how it updates the table, the volume graph, and the IO graph once we get another update in there. All right, so first of all, let's look at the IO table. This one is not totally complete, and we need to do a little styling on it in the next iteration, but the functionality is there, except for the total additional fluids. So we need to add that functionality in the next iteration to make it so additional fluids can be added to the table. So we are going to get on that soon. But as you can, it's probably a little small, but it shows you at each hourly update, it shows you the urine that was outputted, the fluids that were given, and including the additional fluids. So that's almost finished. Next is the volume graph, which is almost at completion. It's very, very close, 90% complete. You see the cumulative fluid volume that grows at each hour, and you have the green, the yellow, and we're going to make it so that as it grows, you're going to see the danger and the warning at the top. It's just a single line threshold that crosses that, and based off of that, in the next iteration, we're going to give a push notification that actually tells you when you've reached a danger point or a warning point. And it's also going to change that green area right there. When it crosses the green, it's going to turn yellow, meaning that you're approaching the yellow line. And then as it gets up to the warning in the red, it's going to also change color so that it's more distinct, or it more deliberately tells you that something is going off. So yeah, we also added a legend at the top. We didn't have that before, and a title. So that's some of the updates we added. Now for the graphs themselves, we did a lot of updates for the graphs. So okay, so I know it's probably a little small, but first of all, we have the time of burn right here. That tells the doctor when they were actually burned, so that they have that on record. And then once you start adding hourly updates, you're going to see in blue, you're going to see the primary fluids that were given, and you're going to see above that the additional fluids in a lighter blue, so that you know what the primary and additional were. And this was requested by Arcos to set it up that way. And we added 2 hourly updates, so you see we have 2 additional bars there. Also, one of the features we added is that as you add a lot of different hourly updates, we have a scrolling feature. In the interest of time, yeah, we'll need to look at that. Like next iteration, we're going to be tackling all the different bugs, but the functionality is there for the most part. Also, we split up the IO graph into 2 different graphs. Basically before we had the graphs combined, so that in the negatives it showed this graph going in the opposite direction. This was found to be sort of hard to follow in a way. So we have 2 graphs now, one for the given and one for the fluid output. And so down at the output, we have the optimal zone, and whenever the urine output is too high, the bar turns red, and when it's in the optimal zone, it's green, and when it's below, it's yellow. We also added legends for each of the graphs as well.
And Arcos, they requested that we split it.
Yeah, they wanted us to do that. Yeah. Okay. A couple other little things, make sure I got to everything we did. The note functionality is complete, so we go to the home, we're able to add notes successfully. Okay, so that works. And then you'll see a list of notes start to compile down there for your patient. The hourly update only works for the training patient at the moment. That's for our next iteration. I'll go through what we're planning on doing. The hourly update will be finished for both the training patient and the regular patient, so that they can give hourly updates. And since we have the graph set up, it should work automatically with that. And then we are going to, of course, add push notifications for the volume graph to make sure that it It tells you when danger points are met, and also have the volume graph change color. And then that's about it. I mean, for the next iteration, we're going to have to look at all the different bugs that we can find, and we're going to fix those individually. And then after we get that, we're going to focus on styling. And that's essentially it for now.
And I didn't show you guys the patient info. So here, if we hit on this little toggle right here, you can see all the weight, the height, and then we can also change that as well. We can change that to whatever we want.
I think back then on the last iteration, we still had the old UI too, so just like going home and all that stuff is different. But the biggest thing that took us a long time was pretty much switching to Redux. That was a challenge in itself. And we're still going through that process right now.
Yeah, we're still good.
But our tests are going pretty well.
So
we have, how many test suites do we have?
We have like a ton, dude.
Yeah.
Like 20 test suites and like
121 something tests.
Yeah, something like that.
Alright.
So this is with a factory patient, just so you guys get a better feeling with more hourly updates, right? The volume graph. And then this is where we actually show how the scrolling works a lot better.
That's all we have 5 on
Yeah. Okay, I'll find one that has more.
there. Or you just add one.
I mean, it's fine.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
fine.
That is fine as well. Just, you can add one real quick if you really want.
I mean, that's pretty much it.
But yeah, I think scrolls, no matter how many hourly updates you add, it'll always have the same padding in between them. It just will scroll continuously. So yeah, that's essentially it. I think we covered everything we wanted to cover. Did you have any questions for us?
Let me shut this down.